Hello everyone. In last sessions, what we discussed? We discussed the different keywords in our Docker file. So almost we completed the 9 keyword and what is the purpose of these keyword. So which keyword we learned in last sessions? First one is a from, then maintainer, then add, copy, CMD, run, then entry point, expose, and these are the keywords we learned. So we know that what's the difference between the CMD and entry point. So whenever we are going to instruction to my Docker file, at that time Docker creation, at that time you can use the CMD or we can use the entry point. So it depends on we can use these keywords. So already we discussed the what is the difference between the two keywords. So one is the CMD, another is the we can call it the entry point. We know that. What is the difference between the CMD and entry point? CMD instruction we can override while we creating the Docker container. But entry point is instruction we cannot override. So this is the we have the difference. After that, we know that the expose keyword. Expose keyword is nothing but we are going to decide the on which port number my application is going to execution. So this is the we can call it the expose keyword. After that, what we have copy and add. So what is the difference between the add and copy? Both are the same. We are going to copy from the source file to the destination file. But there is some difference here. So copy is nothing but we can copy from the my host machine to the container machine because we know that this is the container machine and this is the give me 1 minute here. So we know that this is the host machine, this is the container machine. In this host machine, container machine do have any relation? There is a no relation. So we are going to create the relation by using of the port mapping. Because container machine is a isolated somewhere we are going to running our container machine. But where we are going to run this container? So it is going to run our container on my Linux machine. This is the virtual Linux machine and this is my host. At that time, you can use the copy keyword. But I want to download something from the internet. Suppose I want to download some files from the internet site. Then what we can do here? So we can go with add command. By using of the add command, we can copy and we can use that add command from the source file to the destination file. So this is the we have the keyword which we know that before going to write it the Docker file. Before going to Docker file, I'm going to open my GitHub here. So in this GitHub, so you can see here the I deployed my Java application and I deployed my .NET application. So we are going to deploy the you can see here the this is my .NET application. So you can see the in this .NET application. So already we written the some code. In that code, you can see the this is my Docker file. So each and every application and any kind of the application, whenever you we are going to develop at that time, you can see the Docker file. That Docker file it is going to consideration. So whatever we want to deploy, then we are going to mention the this is my parameter and we are giving the some instruction. So it is a very easy to write it the Docker file. Suppose if I'm developing the .NET application at local level, then what we can do, we can use the local host and we can deploy our code. It is going working as expected. Or same thing, I'm going to deploy the code publicly. At that time, we have to write it the Docker file. So you can see here the Docker file. In this Docker file, what we did here. So build stage, then you can see here the specific project file here. Then after that, you can see the runtime stage. So what is the build stage? Build stage is nothing but suppose if we written the some .NET application related code, at that time you can see the .NET restore. Then you can see the .NET build, then .NET test. So these are the we can call it the terminal command, which we are going to check the my application working or is expected or not. So just we are going to check the my application is going to working as expected or not. So this is the we are going to check. So in this first stage is the build stage. What is the build stage? Build stage is nothing but we are going to check the is there any compilation error in my code? So that time, so we are going to write it here the one Docker file, which we are doing the some instruction to the at a my host level. So where is my host? Host is nothing but host is a my content. We can say called as a my Linux virtual machine. Then that host machine we are going to connect it with another machine that is called as a container machine. You can see here the from keyword I used here. So you can write it the from keyword. Then what we are going to do? We are going to do here the SDK 9.0 as a build. We are going to install it because from the this is my basic image of the creations. So we know that what is the purpose of the from keyword? From keyword is nothing but so whenever just we are giving the some instruction, it is used to the specific base image required to run our application. So what we required here, we required the .NET application. So that's why I'm going to use here the .NET here. So and you can see here the .NET version also here. So you can mention the 8.0 as a build. Otherwise, you can mention the 9.0. Otherwise, you can mention the 10 point. Otherwise, if you want to check the latest one, you can mention the latest. After colon, you can mention here the that particular of the version here. Then after that, what I'm going to do here, work directory. Where is my work directory? This is my SRC. So where is my SRC? In my application. So after that, what we have the copy. Copy is nothing but whatever we have the .NET CS property. These are the properties we are going to copy. Where we are going to copy? We are going to copy in my home directory. You can see here the current. So you can see here the this is the we whatever we have the CS properties file here. So this is the CS properties. What is the extension here? Dot extension. What is the purpose of the star here? Star is nothing but how many files? Suppose if we have the 10 files for the .NET CS property, then we are going to copy where we are going to copy from the dot to the forward slash that's called the home directory. So you can see here the copy, then multiple files if we have, then run .NET restore. So what we are going to run here? So we are going to run command here and we are going to .NET restore. After that, you can see here the copy keyword I use. Then in that copy keyword, you can see here the run .NET publish whatever we have the properties file. Then we are going to publish. Where we are going to release that one? So we are going to publish in my application publish directory. So whatever we have the CS properties, these property we are going to publish in my release to the public directory here. You can see here that. After that, what we have, then you can see here the run stage. Once we completed the build stage, then we jumped on the run stage. On that the run stage, you can see here the we are we require the one ASP.NET. What is the ASP.NET? We are going to use here the ASP.NET technology. .NET with ASP.technology we are going to use here. So this is the we are going to use it in my runtime stage. After that, what we are going to do? So we are going to use the where is my working directory? This is my application working directory. Then after that, you can see here the copy. Now copy build to the publish. Then you can see here the expose keyword. Expose keyword is nothing but we are going to mention the whatever we have the 80. So this is the port number which we are going to deploy my application. But in while we port mapping at that time, can we change it? Yes, you can change it. Then entry point. What is the entry point? Entry point is nothing but whatever we have the .NET files. So that .NET files we are going to copy from the my host machine to the container machine. So this is the container. So what is the entry point? Entry point is nothing but it is giving the some instruction to the we can say call as a when container is getting created. At that time we are giving the this entry point used here. So we are given here the some instruction. That instruction we can say called as a whenever our container is getting created at that time DLL file will be generated. So what is the DLL file? DLL file is nothing but whenever we use the .NET technology at that time DLL file will be available. So once we are going with Java technology at that time you can see the WAR files and jar files. When to go with WAR files, when to go with jar files. I will explain. So once we have the Java technology without of the Spring Boot microservices, then you can go with WAR files. If we have the Spring Boot microservices in our application, then it will be generate the jar file. Then we need to deploy the jar files by using of the same entry point. Then what we have to do? So we have to mention the Java. Here you can see here the .NET. Why we mention here the .NET? We have the .NET. Then we are going to mention the jar. What is the jar? This is my file name. Then we are going to mention my application file name. This will be file will be generated. So this is the Docker file which we already written my application while we developing our application code here. Then how we can use here, how we can by using of this URL, by using of this repository, how we can deploy my .NET application here. Let's see. First, before going to deploy this .NET application, what we have to do? So we have to copy that repository in my working directory. Where is my working directory? Working directory is nothing but this is my working virtual machine. Here we need to the copy. How we can copy? Just we need to the enter the git clone. So, but you can see here the did we install the git software in my machine? No, we are not installed the git software. Then what we can do here? So we can install. I think already I have, but if whenever we running first time our Linux virtual machine, then you need to the install this git software by using of following this command here. Sudo then yum. So what is the sudo? Sudo is nothing but super doing operation. Then yum is a package manager. Then install. Then git. Then you can see the y. You can see the already I have the git software. So nothing to do completed. If we don't have any git software, then you can install it like this. Okay. So once we install it, then what we are going to do? So we are going to clone that repository. Where is my repository? Git clone in my GitHub repository. Where is my GitHub repository? Give me 1 minute. Yes, here. Then you can see here that this is my repository name here. I'm going to copy from here. Then copy. Once we copied the HTTPS, then git clone. Then we need to the paste it. Once we paste it, you can see the we are cloning to the start our repository. You can see here the before going to image creation, before going to any execution here, can we see the images, Docker images? No. Yes, we can see here the Docker images. So we know that how we can delete it each and everything here. So already I have the old data. Then what we have to do here? So we have to use the command that is called as a Docker system prune. So what is the purpose of this command? So deleted stock container plus unused images plus build caches. Okay. So this is the we are going to use here. Yes, I want to delete it each and everything here. So you can see the each and everything here, and you can see the how many spaces we reclaimed here. So almost 122 MB we reclaimed here. Then can we see here the images? Let me check. No, we cannot see the. I want to check the container. No, I cannot see the any running container. I want to check the stock container. No, you cannot see anything here. But you can see the yes ls. In that ls, you can see the dev test build.net. This is my project which I cloned from my remote repository. Then I want to enter that project. Then how we can enter it? cd then dev test then my project name folder here. So whatever we have the folder name, once we enter in that, then you can check here the ELS. How many folders we have? Whatever we have the folders, you can see the Docker file, each and everything, solutions files, then program, whatever we have the files in remote repository, same files we can see here. After that, you can see here the what is the solution file. Solution files is nothing but it is going to generate one solutions file for my project. After that, I want to build that Docker file. Then how we can build that Docker file? Just we have to use the 1 minute. Okay. You can see the, can we see any images? No, we cannot see any images. After that, what we are going to do? Then we are going to build the images. Then T. After that, dev. What is the T? T is nothing but tag name. Then what is my project name here? Dev test. Then build. Then you can see the .NET. After that, we have to enter the here. You can see here we started to execute my Docker file here. Once we executed my Docker file, then what will be generated here? Then it will be generate the one image for my application. In that image, what we have the parameters. So it is nothing but whatever we have the application code, whatever we require the dependencies software to execute my application code. So each and everything will be in my images. Then I want to generate the, I want to execute that images. Then I want to generate the one container. So it will be take some time here. You can see here we are going to deploy the real-time project here. So how we can deploy? Just we copied the clone that remote repository. Then after that, we need to navigate to that project folder. Then once we have the Docker file, if we don't have any Docker file, then we have to write it. So whatever we have the some instruction, we have to given in that my Docker file. Then we are going to build that Docker file and we are going to generate my images. Once we created the image here, then you can see here the Docker images. Can we see here the, yes, we can see the Docker images. So this is my Docker images, which is we created here. I want to execute that image. Then Docker run, then detach mode, then port mapping here. Then I'm going to use here the 5000 because already we use the 5000 and already we have the some inbound rule here. So that's why we are going to use here the 5000 port mapping. After that, dev test build, then .NET. Then you can see here the, I'm going to create it. So can we see here the running container? Yes, we can see here the running container. Can we see the logs for my container? Yes, we can see here the logs for my container. You can see here the, this is my container ID. So just we have to paste it here. Give me 1 minute here. Yeah, you can see here the logs here where we have to deploy our project. We deployed our project into the 5000 TCP. So how we can access this application by using of the public IP. Then that instances is running here. Just we have to copy that public IP. Then you can see here the paste it here the your public IP. Then 5000. You can see here the, yes, successfully we can access our .NET application here. So we deployed one container, whatever we have the project earlier. What was that? So we were using our existing images. Just we are pulling that images and we are going to execute that images and we are going to create the container. Same thing I'm going to do here. So we have the project. So whatever we have the .NET application project, in that .NET application project, so we have the one Docker file. We already written the Docker file. We given some instruction in the Docker file. So what type of the parameters I required, then I added in that and I'm going to execute my Docker file. Once we execute my Docker file, then once our Docker file is built, then image is creation here. Once our image is created, then we are going to create the container by using of the Docker image execution here. Once we execute it, then Docker container will be generated here. So you can see here this is my application. Same thing I want to deploy the Java application. Then what we have to do? We have to follow the same steps here. You can see here that this is my Java project, which I have already deployed in my repository. Then what we have to do? So first we have to exit from that folder. How we can exit from that folder? So you can use the cd then dot. You can see here the sorry cd. You can see here the I exited from my current folder. So right now where we are in? We are in the home directory, the root directory, home directory, EC2 itself. After that, I am going to deploy my one Java application. Can we deploy the multiple container? Yes, we can generate the multiple. 1 minute here. Once we deployed the one project here. So can we generate here the multiple container? Yes, we can generate the multiple container by using of the same machine. So how we can deploy it? Yes, let's see. So what we have to do? First steps. What will be the first step here? So we have to use here the git clone because already our git software is installed here. Then I'm going to generate the multiple container. I'm going to deploy the multiple project in my current virtual Linux machine. Okay. Then then I'm going to copy that HTTPS. Then you can see the git clone. Yes, we can see it. How many folders right now we can see? Two folders. One which is related to the .NET and one is which is related to the Java project. Then I want to enter in that project Java project here. There you can see the we can see the multiple files here. But before going to execution our process here, you can see the Docker file. How we can write it the Docker file for my Spring Boot .NET Spring Boot related application here. So you can see here the from Eclipse. Okay. So this is my JDK. So which I have mentioned here. After that working directory, then I'm going to copy my target directory to the my application jar. But where we are going to copy this one, we are going to copy from the host machine to the container machine. Then we are going to expose my 8080, then entry point. So what is the technology here? Java. Then what will be the extension for the jar files? This is the jar dash. Then what will be the file name here? This is the file name. So app.jar. I'm going to deploy here because we use here the Spring Boot here. So once we use the Spring Boot, then we need to the generate the jar files. At that time, we are not going to generate the new war file. If we are using the Tomcat without of the Spring Boot, then you can generate the war files. So same, we have the 5 to 6 lines of the code here, which is we have the Docker file. In that Docker file, just I'm going to execution of the process on my deployment. So at local level, we can easily execute my application code. But just I'm given the instruction here to Docker. This is the we have the parameter which we required on my virtual machine. Where is my virtual machine? We don't know. But we have the one host machine. In that host machines, we have the Docker file. Then sorry, we have the Docker software. Then by using of that Docker software, we are going to give the some instruction. So who are going to download the all softwares, all dependencies, Docker will be take care of it. So this is the we have the Java application code here. I'm going to execute same process here. Once we enter in that folder, then I'm going to build that Docker file. Then how we can build that Docker file? Then Java project because here is my Java project. Earlier, what was that? Dev test build.net. You can see that Docker build, then tab, then we have to mention here the Java project here. We are going to execute my Docker file. We are going to build my Docker file here. You can see the once we build the Docker file here, you can see here the I'm going to check here the Docker images creation or not. Yes, we can see here the Docker images. So which image we have? We have the Java project related. That image I'm going to execute it. But you can see at the .NET also we can see because only one Linux virtual machines we have. So that's why we can see here the .NET related project images also here. So I'm going to deploy. Then how we can deploy it? Docker run, then detach mode, then port mapping, then 8080. Already we deployed the 8080. So I'm going to use the same thing here. Then we have to mention the that project name here. You can see here the I think I missed here the run detach mode, then P. You can see here the I use here the space between the dash and P. Okay, that is fine. 80, then colon, then Java project. Yes, my Docker image is executed here. You can see here the Docker container. We have the two running container on my one virtual machine. In that one virtual machine, so we executed and we can see here the can we see the our Java application or not here? Can we access it? Yes, we can access our Java application by using of the public IP. You can see here the then what we have 8080. Sorry, I used here the wrong 8080. You can see here that yes, successfully we can access our .NET application. Successfully we can access our Java application. Can we run the multiple container in one virtual machine? Yes, we can run the multiple container in my one virtual machine. Can we deploy the multiple project in my one virtual machine? Yes, we can deploy. Then you can see here the two containers here, which we created here. So one is related to the Java application and one is related to the .NET related. You can see here the Docker PS. In that Docker PS, you can see here the two containers are going to run here. One is Java related, one is related to the .NET. So you can see the 8080 TCP. This is the custom TCP. Already we know that where we need to add it. We need to add in our security group, then edit inbound rule. Then we are going to add this custom TCP. Whatever we have the incoming traffic which is related to the 8080, then we are going to allow it. So that's why we are going to access our application here. I want to check the is there any stop container? No, we don't have any stop container here. You can see the up to about of the a minute. You can see the statuses also. You can see the created. You can see the port number also. So successfully we deployed the our Java related application. First we have to write it the Docker file. Then once we write it the Docker file, then we are going to execute that Docker file. So are we going to write this Docker file in our virtual Linux machine? No, we are not going to write it in virtual Linux machine. So already we have the Docker file is written in our project. Just we are going to use that Docker file and we are going to build that one and we are going to execute it. And we can see the containers, running container. But what is the purpose of the Docker registry, Docker hub? So this is the we are going to store it is a repository we are going to store our images. Suppose I want to store for future references, then we can use the because image is nothing but we know that it is application code and dependencies software which we have in that. So suppose we deployed the new application, new feature, then I don't want to use that new feature. I want to revert back. Then what we have to do? So we have to call the previous image and then we can deploy our previous application code. So this is the we have the process here to Dockerization concept. In upcoming sessions, we will start our next topic. I think that's it for today. We should stop here. So in upcoming sessions, we will start our new topic. Thank you guys.